It's 9:30 in the morning. You know where your children are? We don't give a shit. This is the list critics.
Oh, I would hope they would be watching cartoons this Sunday morning, right?
Sunday morning, either sleeping in,
Yeah.
going to church, studying, or playing video games, watching Cartoon Network, something.
All right, well, we're going to begin as we usually do. With 21 instances of Tumblr getting stoned as fuck.
That's what they need to call it.
That's what it should be called, right? Just people on Tumblr are stoned, and here's some of the funny vignettes of that. Maybe that's too long. Maybe Tumblr Gets Deep is the right thing to call it. Unfortunately, this first one I've actually seen before, but anyway, Lord of the Internet says, your dog needs meat and your kids need vaccines, end of discussion. Flight Freedom says, also, your dog needs vaccines and your kids need meat. And Jennifer Lawrence Fishburne says, also, your meat needs vaccines and your kids need dogs. And Flocky Dog says, what? These are all true.
Huh.
They are true.
Yep.
Yeah. I heard a story about somebody who put their cat on a vegan diet.
Cat was dead within a few days, right?
Yeah, he got very sick and they had to take it to the vet, and the vet yelled at them because cats actually need meat to survive. Like, they cannot live without meat. So, did survive, but the person they got a big dressing down from the vet, which is good. All right, Feffy says, reblog, if you're deaf, the kind of person who 1 says cool beans, 2 does finger guns, 3 says coolio, 4 my guy, 5 my dude, 6 ironically said get Rex scrub and now can't stop, 7 aye, and 8 makes a lot of weird faces. And Magical Chloe replies with, I feel like I'm being singled out by this post. I think that might be the Armageddon time there. Sounds like him. Okay, this next one, yeah, it was posted by, doesn't actually say. Okay. Well, it says, is anyone ever going to talk about the fact that George Washington is naked on the U.S. quarter coin? Look at his clearly defined neck and collarbone. He's shirtless, compared to Thomas Jefferson on the U.S. nickel. And you see there's a collar there, so for some reason, George Washington was going shirtless that day.
God damn it, they're right. I'm looking at a quarter right now.
I knew you. I was like, I feel like he's going to get a quarter and look at it. Like, yeah. How is it that
I got to roll.
We never
I got to roll a quarters here, so.
How is it that we never noticed these things until somebody points it out?
Somebody's got way too much time on their hands.
Yeah, that's Tumblr Gets Deep in a nutshell right there. Actual Han Solo says, how come there isn't a single college professor out there that realizes the address bar on Chrome doubles as a Google search? Every time I see a professor open Chrome and type in google.com, I lose 2 days off my lifespan. And then they reply to themselves and say, this post is making college professors mad. Every time I get a notification on this post and it's a professor upset that they've been called out, I just gained back 2 days of my lifespan, so keep it up. I might eventually regain all the days I lost watching you all try to figure out how to use the internet. And then he replies again, and he says, also, people don't seem to notice autocomplete happening, so they laboriously type the whole thing even though it's right there. Just hit enter. Bonus round, college professors not realizing the YouTube autoplay. So every damn time you finish watching a video, the whole class has to painstakingly watch the timer run out, and the professor is shocked when the next video starts playing. I don't know, man. I would think, man, maybe they got to get some teachers that are a little more tech savvy, huh?
Something like that. I mean, I know I went into training with my new job as a Walgreens truck driver.
Yeah.
And the guy said this computer class is going to probably take you about 5 days to learn. I learned it in an hour. Because he's like, you work with computers, don't you? And I said, that's all I do at home.
Yeah, well, you're a young guy. You grew up with computers. You don't have to learn them. They're already part of your life.
Yeah, my trainer was like 45, too, but he's been there for like 14 years, I think he said.
Yeah, but you got to think the computer thing is probably, somewhat new to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I notice a lot of old people. They really want to learn this stuff, but it does take them more time. And young people, it's because we grew up with it. I mean, I'm not young, but I still, we didn't have a computer right away, but I remember having like it was called the Laser 128. It was like a knockoff of the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good computer. It had a lot of games on it. Anonymous says, "What do you think of girls with glasses?" And Snorlaxatives answers, "I'm glad they can see."
Smart ass.
Well, what do you expect from somebody with the username Snorlaxatives?
Yeah.
I wonder, do you gotta, in the Pokemon universe, do you gotta pick up your Pokemon's poop? Because
If you gotta pick up a Snorlaxes, have fun.
Yeah, because that could definitely factor into choosing which one you want. Like, a Snorlax seems really cool until you think of having to deal with all the poop. So then you're like, maybe I'll go with the little Eevee because it's a lot smaller. Okay, Cloister Bell says, "What do you call a snake that's exactly 3.14 feet long?" And then they reply and say a python. But instead of writing pi, they put the little symbol.
Yeah.
And William Snickspear replies with, "I want this in my tombstone." In the tombstone, not on it. Okay, well, I'm never going to get back the last 10 seconds of my life, so we're just going to move on.
Right.
Just Shower Thought says, "My classes are like a high-level Dora the Explorer episode. Person up front asks a question, stares at you blankly for a few seconds, and then answers their own question." Okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends on the class, though. Pre-coming, I just, how terrible is it that there's somebody out there who they were going to get a Tumblr, and they decided pre-coming was the best name to go by.
Right.
Terrible. But Pre-coming says, "I just put my shirt on, and there was a spider in it." And the town drug dealer replies with, "Or did you just put a shirt on that the spider was already wearing?" And Meat Bicycle Vivo says, "That's so rude." All right. Well, I don't know what I expected from somebody named Pre-coming. There you have it. Bisexual Scotty says, "All English teachers are either chaotic good or lawful evil." I can attest to that.
Ain't that the truth?
That's 100% true. Lieutenant, how do you say this? Lieutenant Treza says, "My favorite thing I've learned in college is that way back in ancient China, there was this poet/philosopher guy who wrote this whole pretentious poem about how enlightened he was. That was like the eight winds cannot move me, blah, 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 and he was really proud of it, so he sent it to his friend who lived across the lake, and then his friend sends it back and just writes fart, or the ancient Chinese equivalent, on it. And he was so mad that he travels across the lake to chew his friend out, and when he gets there, his friend says, 'Wow, the eight winds cannot move you, but one fart sends you across the lake.'"
Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I hope so. That is awesome. They got some good jokes back in ancient China, it sounds like.
Yeah, they did.
Green Crook says, "There's a very drunk man down my street who has been flirting with a tree for 20 minutes now. He's on his knees now. I think he's proposing. Drunk man currently walking away from the tree shouting, 'You're all the same. Hashtag not all trees.'" How drunk you gotta be to propose to a tree?
Talk about taking tree-hugging hippie to a next level.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing to hug a tree, but to actually try to marry it, I don't think that's legal in any of the states. It's probably not legal anywhere. There's probably no place on Earth where you could do that.
Except Alabama, but then again, you can marry anything down there.
Where?
Alabama?
You can marry a tree in Alabama?
Yeah.
I guess
you can marry your sister.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can marry your sister. Yeah. All right. This one's anonymous. It says, apparently 1 in 5 people in the world are Chinese. And there are 5 people in my family, so it must be one of them. It's either my mom or my dad, or my older brother Colin, or my younger brother Ho Chan Chu. But I think it's Colin. It's kind of a try-hard joke, but I did smile at it. That mustache though says, I hope the royal baby goes through an emo phase. I mean, eventually. Maybe they mean just like as a baby, like an emo baby.
Yeah, that's all we hear about whenever they talk about the royal family.
I mean, I couldn't care less, though. I mean, I don't understand. We fought a war to get away from these people. And now we've made celebrities out of them. Drives me insane.
Pretty much.
Buttermilk Queen says, it should be my birthday every day. Our message says, you would be very old. And Buttermilk Queen says, what a rude thing to say to someone on their birthday.
Oh, man.
All right, I see you there. Lux Vriously says, my anaconda will consider it. And then somebody else says, my anaconda has, upon review of the information presented with its partners, decided that it in fact does not. My anaconda apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and thanks you for your time. And then another reply, regarding your anaconda, thank you for your consideration. Please keep my cover letter and your resume in your files in case of any future openings. Good luck in all your future endeavors. Yours, etc., a bunless Hun. You know, I don't think that's what Sir Mix-a-Lot had in mind at all.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Apocalypse says, a human year equals 7 dog years. A dog is a man's best friend. 7 is God's favorite number. Dog is God backwards. Question marks? And then Leo with Fanny says, this is a useless coincidence. And Apocalypse replies with, so was your birth. Oh!
What? That escalated quickly.
Yeah, it did. But good for him for standing up for whatever the hell that original post was. Jackal Frost says, bare minimum. I thought you meant bare minimum as in the smallest amount of bears possible, which is why I brought 1 bear. There's 1 bear, a.k.a. the smallest amount of bears possible. I mean, this is a problem, but at least it's not like bear maximum. And a girl named Ed replies with, so you just bought the bare necessities.
Wow.
I almost feel like that should have been on List Critics too, because Jesse would have loved that. I mean, it kind of makes me chuckle, but he would have been on the floor dying. Sergeant Jerk Barnes says, if I'm ever rich, I'm gonna always use you. Sorry about that. Let me try that again. If I'm ever rich, I'm gonna always leave huge tips, like 200%. That's like the dream, having enough money to give some waitress 40 extra bucks just because she's nice. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I suppose you could just do that, like just once in a while. They don't hurt. Moonflower Light says, if you're having a bad day, just remember that the raptor sounds from Jurassic Park were actually a recording of turtles having sex. Now, what's sad is I've seen a video on YouTube of turtles having sex.
Wow.
And they do make some fucked up noises. Well, the male does anyway. The female just kind of sits there looking sad. Sad tortoise indeed.
Yeah.
I've seen this one as well. Chen00 says, how to draw a sheep, draw a cloud, legs, a circle for the head, and there you have it, a sheep. And then they say, someone draw a sheep using these instructions. And Trombone replies with the drawing, but they used a realistic-looking cloud. There's a random circle, and then like realistic-looking legs coming out of the cloud. And it says, this really helped me. I think this is the best sheep I've ever drawn.
Someone actually did it.
Yeah, well, but it's done in the most ass way possible. Let me actually send you the picture so you can see it. I just sent it to you through Skype. It's pretty ridiculous looking.
Yeah, if my connection will stabilize.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Try it through Facebook because I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay. You know what it is? It's probably not your connection. It's probably Skype. We've been having this issue lately where you send someone something and then they get it like 10 minutes later. It's been very laggy. All right, I just sent it to you on Facebook.
Yeah, like right now it's saying that I'm having connection problems. It keeps trying to reconnect me is what it's saying.
What, on Skype?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we're connected. We're talking to each other, so obviously that's not a real thing. So I would just
Yeah.
give it but did you get it, Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. So you see what I'm talking about? It's pretty ridiculous looking. And now I gotta find the
That's
tab
kind of
that I was on.
disturbing looking, actually.
It is slightly disturbing, but they did follow the instructions. That was it. There were one or two reposts on this, but they were pretty good ones. Out of 21, I'm gonna say 15. What do you say, Peyton?
I'll say 15 too.
15 Twitter jokes everyone should read. Also from Pleated Jeans, we're starting off with Cat Demon at Corn on the Goblin. Me, I let my cat drink the bathtub water while I was in it. Priest, once again, kind of weird, but not a sin. I wonder how many,
Wow.
how often Catholic priests have to deal with that kind of shit where people are telling them stuff that they really don't want to hear, that it's not a sin, it's just weird. I would imagine they have to go through that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
All right, Kendra Alvey at Kendra Garden says, getting older is pretty much just paying bills and finally understanding why killers in horror flicks target teenagers. Okay. Okay, I see you there, Kendra. Audrey Farnsworth at Autopenny says, CVS cashier, how are you doing this evening? Me, pulling a whole chair out of my purse and sitting down in it. Look, I didn't prepare for this, but...
Yeah. Something like that does happen.
I like the visual of pulling the chair out of their purse, though. It's pretty amusing. Doth at Doth the Doth says, my favorite books are the ones that no matter how many times you burn them or bury them in the woods, they always wind up next to your bed. Alrighty then, that's something going on with you, and I'm sure you're dead by now, so...
Yep.
It looks like he was clubbed to death with a book. Adrian Earhart at Cradrian says, my Mexican waiter put my food down in front of another white lady who looks nothing like me. I get it now. Oh wait, that's not my waiter. Wrecked. DC Pearson at DC Pearson says, Don Draper, we quiero many things. Family, safety, love, but this guy taps drawing of a chihuahua. There's only one thing he quieros.
Yeah.
You guys can't see me, but I got my head in my hands like the Captain Picard image. It's just face palms to the max on that.
I just say yeah because it's like
yeah. Like what else can you say at that point? At least you say something. I'm just fucking head desking over here.
I try and add something to it.
I'm glad that when I'm at a loss for words that you can chip in with something, even if it is just yeah, because sometimes I don't know what to say. Cynthia at Super Cynthia says, my spirit animal is that 0.1% of bacteria that Lysol can't kill.
That sucks.
That's a terrible spirit animal. God. What's your Patronus? A dust mite?
Mine's apparently a skunk.
Oh, I got a sparrowhawk. Bob El Diablo Yankee at Bob Yankee says, a horse walks into a bar and the bartender says, why the long face? And he says, it's so when I'm eating prairie grasses I can see predators. Wow, that is an anti-joke right there.
Right.
Eddie at Eddie Steady No says, me, Mom, I'm gay. Mom, just eyeing my outfit. Me, I never said I was good at it. Okay, that's funny. Andy H. at Andy as Adjective says, the Roomba vacuum cleaner just beat me to a piece of popcorn I dropped on the floor, and this is how the war against the machines begins. Well, I guess if you're gross, you could just open it up and get the popcorn out of it. I mean,
or desperate.
Yeah, I mean, you were already going to eat off the floor, so, I mean, don't pretend like you have standards now. John at Arf Medger says, date, what's your favorite movie? Me, Kill Bill. Oh, I prefer things more sophisticated. Killian William. I I'm ashamed that I laughed at that. It's fucking terrible.
So do I.
Oh, SJ at Super Jongerer says, when life gives you lemons, you should peel one in front of the other lemons. You know, to send a message. Reminds me of a true story here. I knew this guy who, he knew a guy who massively overdosed on LSD, which apparently leaves you insane. And the guy was convinced that he was an orange. Obviously, he was kind of a danger to himself, so he was institutionalized after that. But he was really, like, he thought he was an orange, and if you came near him, he would freak out because he was convinced you were trying to peel him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you couldn't talk him out of it. You couldn't be like, well, oranges don't talk. And he'd be like, obviously they do because I'm an orange and I'm talking. But the guy was gone. Like, I guess the story, I don't remember the exact details, but he had like all these sheets of LSD and he was running from the cops and he jumped in a river to get away from them. And, you know, LSD is water soluble, and then it'll go right into your skin. So he basically took something like 300 hits of acid at once.
Oh my God.
That will fry the fuck out of your brain right there if it doesn't kill you. Rue at the Real the Real Eatwood says, "Is coral the stupidest animal or the smartest rock?"
Huh?
It's neither. I mean, coral is essentially like fucking fish bones and shit, ain't it? Ain't that what coral is?
Just next, please.
It's like fish bones and shit, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Chad Reed at Squirrel74WKGN says, "I'm so angry right now that I could strategically throw my phone at a safe spot on the couch." I get that when you're angry, but everything's too expensive to break. All right, last one. Great person at Hippie Swordfish says, "Extremely suspicious that there's no information about brains that didn't come from a brain." I mean, I get it. It ain't making me laugh, but I do get it.
That's more philosophical than funny.
That's more Tumblr gets deep than Twitter jokes, right?
Right.
Well, out of 15, a couple of these were funny. A couple of them were terrible, so I'm going to go kind of like in the middle here and give it an 8. What do you say?
5.
Oh, you're less enthused, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I got a couple of pretty choice lists here. Okay, so who sent me this? Because this was not something I found. Let me bring up my messages here because there is somebody to blame that I'm about to do this list. Give me a moment here. This is from Pufnisse.
All right.
It's 12 Urban Dictionary sex acts that will get you arrested.
If double Blumpkin's on there, I'll know.
What makes it a double Blumpkin? Because I know what a Blumpkin is, but
I think it was just some joke that someone came up with where one sits on the head of the toilet and does his business. The other one's sitting like in that South Park episode how you're supposed to appropriately
reverse cowgirl.
Yeah. And they're going to the bathroom at the same time while you're all doing sex acts to each other.
No, that's too complicated.
Too stupid if you ask me.
Yeah, now these are way grosser than that. Okay,
well,
number one is, and we're going to see if you know what I think you're going to know what this one is, because this did its rounds on the internet about 10 years ago or so. And it's called...
What is the Shocker?
No. It's, I have a Jolteon called the Shocker, by the way. Munging.
Never heard of it, actually.
Well, you're about to. If you need to, you might need to get some sort of receptacle to throw up.
I'm listening.
Because this is the worst one. They're starting off right with the worst one. So step 1, go to a graveyard with 4 of your buddies. So you can see this is not going anyplace good.
Okay.
Step 2, dig up a fresh corpse, female, and have a gangbang. Step 3, afterwards, one of them puts their mouth over the vagina. Step 4, someone jumps on the stomach, shooting all the common maggots and such into the person's mouth. They swallow it.
This sounds like a Cannibal Corpse song.
It sounds like something that would make Cannibal Corpse throw up to me. And the when you put something on Urban Dictionary, you're supposed to use it in a sentence. The sentence is, "I sure did love munging the Thompson's daughter last week."
Oh my God. Next, quickly, please.
Yeah, well, it doesn't get too much better. Number 2 is wolf bagging. Do you know what wolf bagging is?
Nope.
All right, well, I've never heard of this before I saw this list. So, to have anal sex with a person who prior to the deed has swallowed a piece of raw bacon with a length of string attached to it. One end of the string hangs out of the mouth of the anal recipient, and as the moment approaches for the anal giver, he yanks the piece of string, causing the other person to vomit up the piece of bacon. During vomiting, the muscles in the anus become tightly clenched, causing an amazing sensation for the anal giver.
What the fuck?
It's kind of like the pink sock. And the sentence is, we indulged in a spot of wolf bagging and had a nice bacon sandwich afterwards.
Now that's even horrid.
That's just terrible.
That's more horrid.
Number 3 is the Eskimo trebuchet. You ever heard of this one?
I'm gonna I'm gonna go on a lamb and say no. I've none to all of them.
Okay. It's probably good that you never heard of any of these, right?
Right.
Yeah. When you put your dick between your legs and a girl starts to give you head from behind, she has her nose in your asshole and throws up all over your dick after you fart on her. Then you turn around and you open your legs and your dick slings forward like an Eskimo's trebuchet and puke splatters all over her face. Boom. I'm willing to guess the person who came up with this is about 12 years old.
Next.
Number 4 is the sour apple smoothie. You ever heard of the sour apple smoothie?
No.
This is just nasty. When eating out a girl with syphilis, she queefs and a green liquid comes out of her vagina and goes into your mouth. Since this is extremely disgusting, you puke all over her vagina and then continue to eat. And somehow that's called the sour apple smoothie.
How many more of these are there?
Well, there's 8 more.
Keep going then.
Yeah, number 5 is the Mexican pancake. You ever hear of the Mexican pancake? This is really fucking nasty.
Go.
That's when a man comes on a girl's face, lets it dry, and then peels it off and feeds it to her. What does that have to do with Mexico is what I wonder. Don't let the president hear about this one. Number 7 is the Alabama tuna melt. This is like a whole paragraph, so I'm just saying prepare yourself on this one. So the Alabama tuna melt is a sex act in which the woman is on her period and her partner defecates into her vagina, followed by the partner giving oral sex to the woman until climax, at which point the woman ejaculates a mixture of menstrual blood and human feces onto her partner's face. The partner then has the fecal menstrual blood licked off of his or her face. Essentially a combination of the Alabama Hot Pocket and the tuna melt. Variations of the Alabama tuna melt have been traced back to ancient Rome. I'm sure that's bullshit. Contrary to popular thought, revisionist historians have found that Cleopatra did not die of a snake bite, but rather died of an infection as a result of performing a variation of the Alabama tuna melt with Mark Anthony.
See, I know what an Alabama Hot Pocket is, but not a tuna melt.
Well, now you know. Now you know. I gotta say, man, I'm sure nobody has ever done that one. That is just too nasty. Who's got time for all that?
No one.
Number 7 is Space Dock Fondue.
just make it quick, please.
I'm just laughing at the name. A variation on the classic Space Dock, generally reserved for party situations. Here, one female is chosen to serve as the fondue pot. One male who has taken a gentle laxative shits watery diarrhea onto the woman's vagina, thus filling the space dock fondue pot. Next, each man in the party takes turns dipping his hard pole into the fondue pot, covering it with shit. Finally, each man's partner licks the feces off of his shit-encrusted cock as if it were a chocolate-covered banana. Is this like 2 girls, 1 cup level of debauchery here?
I think it's worse than that.
It's like somebody saw 2 girls, 1 cup and was like, hold my beer, I can top this. But it's not a video because they can't find anyone that wants to do this. Number 8, this one you've probably heard. It's the Lion King. You know the Lion King.
Yeah?
That's where you, for anybody who doesn't, I'm not going to read it exactly, that's where you jizz on into your hand and then you wipe it on the girl's face and you say, Simba. It's something that you only do if your girl has a very good sense of humor, because if she doesn't, your ass is going to be on the couch for a while after that. Well, number 9 is the Alabama Hot Pocket. Now, Peyton, you said you know what this is.
I really, really, really don't want to explain it.
Well, it's just shitting in a pussy, so that's what
yes,
yeah.
But still,
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, I don't, this is gross, of course, but I just love the name of this next one. Number 10 is the Alligator Fuckhouse. It's a great name. The act is terrible, but the name is great.
Sounds like the woman bites your dick while she's sucking you.
Well, I hope it's not that. Let's see. A daring sexual maneuver. Mid-coitus, one person bites the neck of the other, locks their arms and legs down, and goes into a death roll, all while maintaining insertion, like downshifting a car. What the fuck? Alright, number 11 is a Charizard.
Chart.
Are you prepared? Because this one's actually pretty funny.
I got no choice. I gotta be.
Yeah. While having sex with a girl with pubic hair, light her pubes on fire as you ejaculate. Your semen will put out half of the burning hair, and afterwards, while she's flapping her arms around wildly, scream, "You don't have enough badges to train me!" and then run out of the room. And then you will be single afterwards. But let's face it, the people that came up with that were already single.
Probably.
Yeah. And number 12 is actually a grouping of them because they all have to do with Cleveland. There's the Cleveland accordion, which is the act of kneeling over your woman, beating off and quietly shitting on her knees before loudly busting out onto her face. Then in the mass confusion, you slam her knees and face together like an accordion. There's Cleveland apple picking, which is the act of anal intercourse in which, upon pulling out a little piece of fecal matter, finds its way onto your dick hole, causing the head of your dick to turn as red as an apple. And finally, the Cleveland hot waffle, which is the act of shitting on a woman's chest and then smacking the pile of shit with a tennis racket.
What the fuck?
Who the fuck finds this sexy? Yeah, these will all get you arrested.
If not all of them.
Yeah, all of them, every single. Well, what do you say, Peyton? Out of 12 for the. By the way, this was posted on College Humor in case anyone wants to check it out. The 12 Urban Dictionary sex acts that will. You know what's funny is the URL is different from the title on the website is 12 Urban Dictionary sex acts that will get you arrested. But the URL says 12 Urban Dictionary sex acts that literally no human being has ever performed. What do you say out of 12?
In the fucked up department, all of them.
So 12, right?
I'm going with 12. Yeah.
Yeah, because regardless of what the title is, yeah, they probably will all get you arrested, and no, probably nobody's ever done any of them. I hope not.
If they have, they've got bigger balls than I do.
And if you're out there and you're thinking that any of these are a good idea, they're not. Don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Please, I don't want somebody blaming me for for this. Like some girl's gonna come in, like, you asshole! Because of your podcast, my boyfriend did the Cleveland hot waffle to me.
You're still living, ain't you?
Yeah, but what kind of life is that after somebody shit on your chest and smack it with a tennis racket?
Have fun cleaning that mess up.
Ugh, gross. Okay, so this list is on oola.com. This is a story list from McDonald's employees sharing the craziest experiences they've had on the job. Now, you know, any kind of fast food job, people are going to have some crazy fucked up stories. Have you ever worked in fast food, Peyton?
No.
No, you never done that, huh?
Thankfully, no.
I did it. I worked at Wendy's for like about 8 or 9 months when I was 17. Yeah, I got some crazy stories, but let's hear what these people have to say. These are all from McDonald's. All right, so here's the first one. The statute of limitations is up on this one, so I'm comfortable telling it. My brother was a shift manager at a McDonald's for a while when he was in school. Fast forward a few months, he caught the guy below him stealing $50 from the register. As the tills had been short before, my brother flipped out, sent him home, and generally made a big deal out of it. As a result, the guy was transferred and my brother was fired. My brother, who couldn't deal with the unjustness of the situation, devised a plan to rob the place. He knew the night crew would prop the door open in the kitchens to smoke, which was against policy. He also knew exactly when the night manager would do the deposit for the day. The night he did it, he raided his closet for everything he ever wore, including a pair of ridiculous cowboy boots. He had a friend drop him off the block, calmly walked to the door, and sprinted through, completely bypassing the smoking workers, running into the office. He punched the shift manager in the throat and grabbed the deposit bag, running back out exactly the way he came. He spent the rest of the night depositing each article of clothing in a different dumpster in the next town over. He got many calls from the night shift who were all fired for violating policy, but there was never any solid proof that it was him. The kicker is he never kept the money. He gave it to his friends who needed it. He just wanted to fuck over the people that fucked him.
Well,
that is not exactly a very intelligent plan. I mean, I hadn't read this yet, so when he said the perfect plan to rob the place, I thought it was going to be some, like, well, maybe not Ocean's 11, but maybe like Ocean's 2, you know?
yeah.
But this was literally just, I'm going to run in there and punch the guy and take his money. So that's pretty crazy. All right, as the next one of our favorite customers is one we've collectively named Dr. Pepper Lady. She takes the lid off of her Dr. Pepper and smells it. If she approves, she leaves. If not, she demands another and won't leave the drive-thru until she acquires a Dr. Pepper that meets her standards.
How the hell do you do that?
Maybe that's like that scene in Clerks where the guy's going through all the eggs.
Makes no sense. But that he's doing it anyway.
Yeah, like, whatever.
Then again, if you were a guidance counselor, wouldn't your life have no meaning either?
It's true. Maybe she was a guidance counselor. She wasn't into eggs. She just needed the perfect Dr. Pepper. That's weird. All right, I once saw a glorious showdown end in the best way possible inside of McDonald's. These grungy punk kids, 6 of them, were getting pretty rowdy at their table, throwing food and banging on the windows and stuff, and just being your average grungy punk kids. One of these grimy whiteheads pushes another one, and he bumps into these very glamorously dressed ghetto teenage girls, and this very lovely but very frighteningly tall black girl turns around with a loud, "Excuse me," and proceeds to start ranting and yelling and finger-waving and pushing the punk kid around. His friends laugh at first, but then start to get into it with her friends, and it looks like there's going to be a brawl, and the rest of the place is a cacophony of old people's voices and young mothers screaming, "Knock it off! Get out of here! Cut your hair!" Because people like to get in on these things. My friend and I are looking at each other like, shit, this whole place is about to get burnt to the ground, when from over in the corner comes our unlikely savior, this very, very large, slow, sleepy-looking woman, from her serene reverie by the window in the midst of the din, looks up, slowly raises a chubby finger and points to the counter and says, "Look! There's your fucking food!" And somehow the whole room just stopped and looked at the terrified employee holding a to-go bag. And it was like someone hit the reset button. Everything went back to normal. Super surreal.
Don't you hate when that happens, when something starts to escalate and then all of a sudden, bam, it just stops instantly? Now everyone's playing dumb about it.
Hey, I mean, I'm glad they didn't burn the place down. Because
Yeah.
that's where it was heading. I mean, holy shit. I mean, people would have died in that situation. One time we had a customer accidentally leave behind a purse with a bunch of money in it. There were about 3 of us standing around when we saw the purse, looked inside for an ID, and instead found about $300 and some other lady items, lipstick, lotion, etc. Like, this was clearly someone's purse and not some bag left behind for, like, a drug deal, which was totally possible at my McDonald's location. I put the purse unattended in the manager's office for safekeeping and went to find the manager on duty to alert him of what we found. When the manager and I returned to the office like 2 minutes later, the purse was gone. I swore up and down that I had put it in there, and the manager was like, no big deal, we'll watch the security tape. Sure enough, there was footage of me popping in and putting the purse on the desk, and seconds later, one of the other girls who had found the purse with me popped in and took the purse. The manager confronted her, and she said she didn't do it. He's like, okay, cool, we're going to check the lockers then. Obviously, in this same lady's locker, they found the missing purse, the thief's purse, a bunch of drugs, and some other random items that belonged to fellow employees that had gone missing. That one made me sad because I kind of liked that lady and thought she was one of the cool ones, but apparently not.
That sucks. The person you least expect.
Yeah. My mind is just blown that employees at McDonald's have lockers.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. We didn't have that at the Wendy's, but then again, that was like 17 years ago, so actually a little more than that. There was an older guy who I'm pretty sure was homeless. He would always come in, buy a sausage biscuit and a coffee, and chill in the dining room for hours at a time. Sometimes from when we opened until after lunch started, so we were told by our store manager to keep his receipt, and if he was there for longer than 2 hours, to let him know. Well, this particular morning he was in my line. He ordered, I gave him his food, pocketed his receipt, and away he went. I promptly forgot about him. About an hour later, a patron approached me and said, hey, there's a guy out here who doesn't look so good. I took off around the corner and saw the poor son of a bitch slumped over in a booth next to the kids' training tables. I ran back, told my manager, he booked it and tried to shake the guy awake, as he was infamous for sleeping, and got nothing. My manager told my store manager, who was on the phone, Rick, I think someone died in one of the booths. And Rick ended the conversation like a boss with, listen, I gotta go, I got a dead guy in my lobby. Yes, I'm serious. Wow.
Hopefully that wasn't his first day on the job. That happened to me on my first day of the job as a CNA.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet that, I mean, you know, CNAs see that shit a lot, so the odds are pretty high. And I know you worked in nursing homes, so.
Yeah, but it was feeding time. They brought the old woman, they brought everyone in. This woman, she wasn't moving or nothing, and they asked me to feed her, and I'm like, all right, sure. I put the milk up to her so that way she could drink, and she wasn't responding or anything. Next thing you know, I start smelling this putrid smell, like she had evacuated her bowels, I guess. I said, hey, she needs to be cleaned up. They take her to her room. 30 minutes later, they come out screaming.
Wait, it sounded like she'd been dead for a little while. How long did it take them to notice?
I have no idea.
That's crazy. That's not a good nursing home, let me tell you that.
Well, why do you think I got out of it?
Yeah. I mean, but there are some nursing homes that are all right. That's not one of them, from what you're telling me.
No, it wasn't. I lasted 8 months there. Then I moved out and went to a better one.
You've seen some shit, in other words.
Yeah.
You were there for 8 months. Holy crap. All right. A hot coworker of mine was out doing a lot check, picking up trash. A couple of guys in modded out and restored classic muscle car did a wheel stand to impress her. They also impressed us by crashing into the wall near where we received our deliveries. Also impressive was that they took out the CO2 feed lines and sprayed Coke syrup all over their car. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Think of that. They got bukkakied on by a fucking Coca-Cola machine and probably wrecked their car just to impress some fucking McDonald's chick. I wonder if they got her number.
Oh, boy.
All right. Just a few days ago, someone broke a water pipe in the men's bathroom, resulting in a jet of water spraying everywhere. At least it was water. The same bathroom was also subjugated to a druggy customer throwing an entire lobby ketchup bag against the toilet, exploding everywhere. It looked like a McMurder scene. And believe it or not, Peyton, there actually are pictures of both the pipe spewing water and the exploded ketchup. If you want to see these pictures,
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna send it to you. Facebook works better, right? We'll send it to you on Facebook.
Oh, would you look at that? That picture with the cloud and the legs finally went through.
I told you, Skype's just been laggy with links lately. Like, obviously, we're not having any lag with our conversation here, but sending links, it's been very laggy. Did you get? Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Ah!
Yeah, I mean that is just catch up, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, but still, it looks like.
It does look like a McMurder scene, yeah. What I want to know is how did the customer get the full ketchup bag out of the... Because those are like hidden under a counter and then get it into the bathroom without anybody noticing what the hell was going on.
Must have been only 2 people working and no cameras in sight.
Or maybe it was like really fucking busy and nobody noticed what they were doing. Okay. A girl and I were working drive-thru. This lady orders a few cookies freshly made. No biggie. She gets up to the window, pays, and now has to wait for the next car to pull up. In that window of time, the girl taking orders looks over, just looking over to see the person, checking to see if it may be someone they know or something, then back to her order taking register. The lady in the car knocks on my window, and I answer, "Yes, ma'am," her. She looked at me. She wanted my attention. I promptly handled the situation to the girl by backing up and waiting. At first, the girl is polite, asking what she needed. Again, the woman insists that her attention was needed when she was looked at. The girl says, "No, man, I didn't want your attention. I was just looking out the window." "Well, then why did you look at me?" "Because normally if you look at someone, you want their attention." "Ma'am, I was just looking out the window. I didn't want your attention, and looking at you doesn't mean I would want it." The lady flips the fuck out and starts swearing at her and whatnot. I reach over and slowly close the window, and she drives off mad without her cookies.
Good move there. Good move.
Wow. Don't cross the cookie lady. She's got problems. Alright, I worked out at McDonald's about 8 years ago. A lady ordered 15 double cheeseburgers and 15 McChickens, held up the line, and after 5 minutes got mad because her food was taking too long. Now, look, how the fuck... I know it's fast food, but you just order 30 fucking sandwiches and you expect it in 5 minutes? Be real.
Fuck that. Hell, most of the time whenever I'm getting something that big, like if I'm catering...
Yeah, you should call in ahead of time.
Call it ahead of time or be patient, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, like when the Epic Meal Time guys go and they order, 50 Big Macs or whatever,
they'll go to another place while they're making them.
Yeah, they're actually like, okay, well, you're making it, we're going to go to Wendy's and order 50 triple cheeseburgers or whatever. They got it worked out. So anyway, let's see. I told her it would be a few more minutes since we have to cook everything, and she proceeded to throw her drink at me. I caught the drink in midair and threw it back, splashing it all over her. Wow. Nice move there. I mean, he probably got in trouble, but still. Nice. Throwing drinks. Oh man, my time to shine. When I was in high school, I worked at a McDonald's. Great job for a teenager, and most of the time had a lot of fun. However, one night scarred me for life. An old man came in about 20 minutes before close one night and ordered 5 fish fillet sandwiches. He sat down and ate every one. When he finished, he calmly got up and entered the bathroom. Well, after 5 fish fillets, you're going to need the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
My friend and I, who are cleaning the lobby, hear something that resembles an explosion, but the old man calmly exits and leaves the premises with a cheerful good night. So we assume all is well. Now it's time to clean the bathroom, and my buddy and I flip a coin for the honors. He wins, or loses, and gets his cleaning supplies to go do his duty. As soon as he opens the bathroom door, he runs out gagging. There is shit everywhere. All over the stall, floor, and ceiling. There were turds in the urinal, and a smiley face of feces smeared on the mirror.
What the fuck?
To this day, I cannot figure out how such a small man could projectile shit over 12 feet, but I can only guess it was a skill that took years of training to hone the power of the fish fillet. Wow, if that's what he could do with 5, imagine what he could do with 6.
Or 7.
Yeah. Well, at 7, I think he dies. I love it. That's great. Let's see. I didn't get to witness it, unfortunately. I quit shortly before this happened, but I stopped in for lunch and got the lowdown from one of my former coworkers who came out and visited with me. 2 of the managers, neither of which were well-liked, had looked up and devised a master plan to rob the place. They set it up so that she would be the night manager on shift, part of whose job it is to count up everything in the safe at the end of the night and bag it for the bank deposit. He, with a pantyhose over his face, pretended to be some random criminal, barging into the back claiming he had a gun and barking orders. She would comply with his demands and give him the money. So I don't know how drunk they were when they came up with this plan, but stop to consider that everybody in the kitchen would immediately recognize him. I mean, you can make your voice deeper or whatever, but everybody knows it's still you. And your build and your body language, it's not rocket science. It's somebody you work with every day. How did they think his pantyhose would do anything at all? Needless to say, they were immediately caught and wound up serving time. I laughed my ass off when I was told about it. Yeah, pantyhose ain't gonna cut it for that.
Not for that job, at least.
Should have dressed up as the Hamburglar. That would have been better. All right. Back in 2008, I was working in a down-on-its-luck McDonald's with this crazy, silly fry cook named Trevor. Trevor was funny and did his job really well, but one day he just decided that on his hourly smoke break, he would go out to his car, do a shot of Patron and a little cocaine. He started this cycle at 5 p.m. until 11 when we closed. 10:59 p.m. rolls around and we get another order come through the drive-thru. Trevor was completely blitzed at this point and messed up the huge $50 order and lost his mind. He took the bags of food and threw them out the window into the customer's vehicle and then shut and locked the window. He then started accusing everyone of messing up the order. He punched a coworker, then punched a giant dent into our creamer dispenser, then punched me, then knocked over a giant tub of sweet tea, then began beating our metal front counter like a monkey. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, huh?
Yeah, it is.
I stood up, cleaned my bloody nose, and clocked out as I wasn't getting paid enough for that. Oh, and the store manager was there and did nothing. That night I called the district manager and reported Trevor. Trevor got fired, as did the manager. Weeks, if not months later, Trevor started calling the store, harassing me and demanding me to confess that I ratted him out. I denied it. A few weeks later, I'm sweeping the floor late at night, and Trevor walks up to one of the giant windows from the darkness outside. He's smoking and mime's slicing his throat. He came again the next day and mime's shooting himself in the head. I called the cops and Trevor got arrested. Months later, Trevor's girlfriend was a manager at the McDonald's across town. He convinced her to steal from the safe. She stole $2,000 and Trevor used it to buy cocaine. $2,000 worth of cocaine. Trevor and his girlfriend are caught, and last I heard they were doing some serious time for their crimes. Man, when they said Trevor, I didn't think they meant Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. Because that's what it sounds like.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. Saw a guy clearly drunk pay for his order. Gave him his change back and he put it in his back pocket. Saw him do it. He then insists that we are stealing his money and that we still need to give him his change. The manager asks him to leave and he says that if he doesn't he will call the cops. The guy says, fine, call the cops because y'all stole from me. Fast forward 5 minutes later, the cops arrive and both sides tell their stories. The cops ask the drunk guy if it's cool that they search his pockets. He says fine, and they not only find the exact change from their seat, but also marijuana, at which point they promptly arrested him. Well, not the fucking brightest bulb, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Damn. Alright, this whacked out crack whore woman, I love the way this begins. This whacked out crack whore woman who came in cussing up a storm demanded that we tell her cheating husband Tom to come up front. We have no Tom at our store. Or she was going to go get him. She then tried to force her way behind the counter while still screaming her head off for no good cheating imaginary husband. At this point, we had already called the cops. Next, she grabbed a broom and began assaulting other customers and our crew. This is when our maintenance man stepped in and detained her until the police arrived. Well then, at least somebody handled it, right?
Yep.
This one says, I don't work at McDonald's, but once I was there waiting for my friend to get off work. He was arguing with a drunk guy who was demanding 200 chicken McNuggets. They ended up selling him the 200 nuggets when he proved he had the money. He proceeded to run outside and throw them at people, screaming, you get a nugget! You get a nugget! And you! Everybody gets nuggets! The Oprah Winfrey of chicken McNuggets. Alright, I was a manager of a Walmart that had a McDonald's inside it. Two very large women start arguing and fighting over something. One lady takes off her do-rag and fills it with ice from the machine and knots it up. She then proceeds to beat the other woman with it. That's where the story ends. I want to know more. I'm disappointed that that just ended.
Yeah.
Alright. I get called in at 10 p.m. and I'm asked to work the overnight shift immediately with the owner and regional management. I say sure and come on in. Well, there's your first mistake. The shift manager and regular crew who always worked overnight had been busted in a sting operation by police from our corporation, franchise corporation, something like 12 locations in one country. Apparently, they would shut down the register and pocket all transactions from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Also, the newest guy in the group would sell drugs through the drive-thru. Can you imagine getting drugs through a drive-thru?
Yeah.
It's like, I need a 10-piece chicken McNugget and an 8-bowl of cocaine. Okay, pull up to the next one. It'll be $700 or whatever.
Oh, God.
All right, well, how many of these were there? I don't... You know what? It doesn't say, so just give it a letter grade, Peyton. What do you say?
B plus.
Plus, I'm gonna... You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and agree with you on that. B plus, yeah. Now, I have another list from the same website. It's 15 disgusting ways people have tried and failed to get free food.
All right, this should be interesting.
Could be. I think I've read this one. So, had a woman complain because of a certain ingredient in her omelet, so I pull out the menu, and it's clearly listed. She says, well, I don't make them that way. I didn't comp her meal. I wonder what the ingredient was. Imagine if it was like, this omelet has eggs in it.
All right.
Let's see. The table asked to speak to a manager, and the lady says the sports memorabilia we have should be more female-friendly, and it wasn't like this the last time she was in. My boss asked when that was, and she says 10 years ago. He said none of the memorabilia has changed in 10 years, and she shut up. At that point, you kind of have to. But they haven't changed it in 10 years. I guess it's working for them.
Something must be working.
At a Chinese restaurant, this blonde girl complained about hair in her food. Manager looked at it and said, Miss, no Chinese have blonde hair. She really should have thought that one through.
Unless they dye it.
Well, yeah, but generally speaking, you don't see many blonde Chinese people.
You don't see any ginger Chinese people either.
Yeah, whole Chinese people, generally speaking, have black hair. I had a customer fake an allergic reaction to a pizza he ordered, claiming he was deathly allergic to something we had put in the pizza, even though he couldn't say what. He made a scene about his throat closing up, and when he didn't get offered a new pizza, he got it to go and walked out. Well, I guess his breathing problem cleared up pretty quickly then, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. A family stabbed their 10-year-old kid in the hand with a fork so they can leave without paying. Like, it worked, but why? Wow. Like, can you imagine explaining that to your kid? Like, all right, Timmy, you're going to have to take one for the team here.
Wonder how that worked out for him.
Oh, well, he's probably in therapy now, I would think. I mean, holy shit. Had someone try to get a meal for free because it tasted like fish. It was fish.
They definitely didn't think that one through.
I mean, personally speaking, if I go and I order fish and it doesn't taste like fish, that would be a problem, don't you think?
Yeah.
Usually when I'm ordering fish, I want it to taste like fish. That's just me, though. This family tried dining and dashing. I looked outside, and the whole family, 5 kids, 2 parents, grandma, 2 uncles, and an aunt, were huddled around the van because it wouldn't start. He called the cops, and they wound up charging the parents and the other adults for theft.
Oh, nice going.
So they got out, but they didn't have the getaway car ready to go. This reminds me of a story. This goes back, man. This must have been about, I want to say, about 20 years ago, Peyton. We went, me and not just my family, but also my uncle and his now ex-wife and their daughter, Jillian, which is my cousin. We were all at Olive Garden, right?
Right.
And you know how they have, like, the guy who comes around and offers the Parmesan cheese?
Yeah.
And he has that little machine to grate the cheese?
Yeah.
So my mom grabbed it and stashed it in her purse. You know, this thing that all reality probably costs about $15, but we didn't have it, so she just stashed it away. And she actually saw the guy like looking around for it, and then he's like, what the hell? Just get another one from the back, you know, that kind of thing. So we get out, and we're in the parking lot, and she takes it out of her purse and shows it. Look what I got. And I'm like, oh, you're horrible. You know, I'm just like, whatever. You know, my cousin, who was about 12 or 13 at the time, starts having a full-on panic attack, Peyton. We're in the car, and she's like, "We're gonna go to jail. We're robbers." And I'm like, "Will you fucking calm down? It's a piece of plastic." So, nothing happened really, but my mom had that thing for like 10 years.
Right.
It eventually broke because, But yeah.
Oh, they do that.
Yeah. I mean, they're plastic. They only last so long. All right. I had a group of 18 people come in at IHOP. Everyone ordered the T-bone breakfast. After they got their food, they started complaining one by one about different things. My boss talked to them, and they caused a huge scene, refusing to pay for their meals. The cops are called, and 3 were arrested for public intoxication. Oh, shit. I mean, if you can't be intoxicated in IHOP, you can't be intoxicated anywhere, because that's where you go when you are intoxicated.
Right.
Either there or Denny's. It's one or the other. This lady decided to seat herself in the very back, and right after I take her order, I hear a clipping noise. I see her clipping her toenails and putting them in a pile. Not even 2 minutes after giving her her food, she calls me and the boss over, claiming she found toenails in her tacos. They comped her the meal, which meant I had to pay for it. What the actual fuck? There's actually a picture of this woman clipping her toenails. You don't want to see it.
I don't want to.
Yeah. My friends and I were at McDonald's, and she told them she would twerk for a free burger. She did, and got a free burger out of it. All right, well, if you got the ass, back it up, right?
Might as well.
Ain't no shame in that. I watched a mother purposely tip her espresso on her lap. I grabbed a linen and helped her clean up. They immediately asked for a manager, told her I spilled the espresso, demanded compensation, and me fired. They got their meal discounted but left no tip. The table next to them saw what happened and tipped double to make up for those jerks.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good Lord. It's one thing to demand free food, but then to demand that your server be fired is pretty fucked up. Because you never know. You might get the fucking manager that'll do it.
Yeah?
All right. Guy orders our most expensive steak and said it was undercooked. So I took the steaks back to the grill. He told me I better bring back new steaks or he wasn't eating them. I told him we would make new ones, but it would be a while, which made him complain even more. I did what I could and took off the first steaks, but he still threatened to get me fired. My boss just laughed at him. Oh, there you go.
Well, you gotta hate those situations where no matter what you do, you're gonna get chewed out or whatever.
Sounds like it, yeah. At one point, we were running a kids under 12 eat free. This woman insisted that her granddaughter and her daughter were both under 12. The daughter was easily 35.
Nice try.
This is my daughter who's under 12 and her daughter who is also under 12. I mean, maybe in West Virginia, but not in America. I'm going to get a comment about that. I just know it. There was a lady who ate more than half her chicken fried rice and then reached into her bag, and I literally watched her take a bug out and put it into her rice. I walked right over and asked how her food was. She goes off immediately about the dead bug in her food. Of course, the place comped her meal. Who just has a bug ready to go?
Someone who was ready, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she's sitting there, and it's like, Pinsir, I choose you. Like, fuck off with that bitch shit. That's crazy. We had a table try to play the race card in every possible way to get their meal comp. They tried saying we were all racist even though we were all black. They were stuck paying their bill in full. Can you imagine, like, here's your check. What? Check? I thought this was free. You're racist. Like, come on, man. Well, that was the last one. Out of 15, I was entertained. I'm going to give it I'll say 13. What do you say, Peyton?
I'll say 14. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Let me head back over to Facebook. So, Will A. Hamar Jr. sent me top 15 hardest games that he's beaten. Peyton, what's the hardest game that you've beaten?
Probably Final Fantasy VIII without using junctions.
Oh, yeah, but that's not a hard game. That's just a self-imposed challenge. Plus,
Uh,
that's blatantly masochistic. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you?
Probably Final Fantasy IV for the DS then.
Did they make that one extra hard? I didn't play the DS
It
version.
was ridiculously hard.
Wow, okay.
Like,
For me, it's probably Battletoads. Battletoads is pretty fucking rough.
uh, me and my buddy, we were at, not my, he became my stepbrother. He and we were able to finish that game. It took us all day though, but we did.
You did it with two people together?
Yeah.
That's actually even harder because you can hit each other.
Because it's, you got friendly fire in there, but.
Yeah, not only that, but if one of you runs out of life, it's game over for both of you.
It was one of those things where we both had played the game so much that we were able to,
well, that is, and people ask, like, they ask me, how the hell did you beat Battletoads? Like, it really is just memorization.
That's the best way to do it. And I mean, like, we did that with every game. Battletoads, River City Ransom, even the Top Gun game. The one where you could play 2 players.
River City Ransom, you could just, like, grind up one skill and then just use that as your crutch throughout the whole game. Like, decide that you're just going to be really good at hitting people with trash cans and just grind that up, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the 15 hardest games that Will's ever beat. Number 15 is The Wizard of Oz on Super NES. Growing up, my first console was an SNES, and we had maybe 6 games, so I played what I had. And what I had was a game created by Satan himself. The glitches in this game are something out of the Necronomicon itself. Fuck Dorothy, fuck Toto, and fuck this game.
See, here's something funny. I remember renting that game as a kid, and I don't remember it being that, like, it was tough, don't get me wrong, but I don't remember all those glitches, falling through platforms or anything like that, but I do remember that it was pretty challenging.
I was unaware that there was a Wizard of Oz game until I saw James Rolfe play it. And
that's what I meant. I was like, I don't remember the glitches.
But, well, I don't think they're glitches. I think it's just a shit game. I mean, it's just poorly put together. But yeah, I was unaware of it, and I remember watching his review and thinking, it doesn't look that bad. And then I tried it. Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad.
Of course, they had to be a little. They had to take some freedoms with it, because how exactly do you make the Wizard of Oz into a video game?
That's how I guess. I don't know. I mean,
without all the freedom.
I want to see like American McGee do it. He did Alice in Wonderland, right?
Right.
Why not do Wizard of Oz? Do like the fucked up American McGee version. Number 14 is Gran Turismo 3. So with the right amount of knowledge, you can get a good amount of cars and cash fast. What that doesn't help you with is just how many fucking races you have to do, the worst of which are several 24-hour endurance races you have to complete. That's right, you have to race the same car on the same track for 24 fucking hours straight. And if that isn't hell enough, whatever song plays at the beginning of the race will repeat until completion. You have just never heard Turbo Lover by Judas Priest until you've heard it 600 times in a row. Wait, do you literally have to play it? Is it 24 hours in the game, or is that like 24 real-life hours? Because who the fuck has time for that?
This guy apparently did.
Shit. Now, number 13, I kind of call bullshit on this. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that is not a hard game.
If he said 1, 2, 3, even 4, I could understand it. But Symphony of the Night, what the fuck?
There have been some rough Castlevania games. Symphony of the Night's not one of them. Well, let's see what he has to say. He says, one of the best games ever made is also one of the most tedious for varying reasons. For one, I never knew there were multiple endings until I was 15 and a GameStop employee told me. So that means it took me 7 years to beat this fucking game. That doesn't mean it's hard. It just means that there was more to it than you thought. It's not hard.
Yeah, like, before I would say Metal Gear on NES was the hardest, but then I realized, wait a sec, this was just a shitty built game. It wasn't hard whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, that's also another game that you can just memorize.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, which truck to go into and all that, Castlevania, I mean, if you like, I wonder what he would think of Order of Ecclesia, because that's in that same style, and it is legitimately a very hard game.
Yeah, that's... Oh, God.
Order of Ecclesia is rough. Although my girlfriend blew through it in like a week. I don't know how she fucking does shit like that. She'll play the easiest game and have problems with it, and she'll ask me for help in these games, and I'll be like, hon, this is really not hard. I don't understand how you get stuck on this. And And she'll be like, I'm not as good at games as you. And I'm like, yeah, but you beat Order of Ecclesia in like a week. Like, come on. Like, you give her the hardest game and she'll be like, oh yeah, I'm finished it. And I'm like, how? When you get stuck on Chrono Trigger, how can you beat Order of Ecclesia in a week? I don't understand it. Number 12 is Split Second. A racing game by Disney can't be that hard, right? Well, yes, it indeed fucking can. This game is balls to the wall insane. For an example, a certain race type has you dodging fucking missiles being shot at you from a helicopter. What the fuck, Disney? I've never heard of this game.
Neither have I.
Is it based on a movie or something?
I don't know.
Let me look into this. Split Second, huh? Let's take a look. That's on Steam. Anyways, what he's talking about Disney, he says it's developed by BlackRock Studio and Sumo Digital. What does Disney have to do with it? Oh, it's published by Disney. That's interesting. I don't know what it has to do with Disney or why they published it, but there you have it. Okay, I learned something there. Number 11 is Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Now that's a tough game, made even worse by the fact that to see the ending you gotta beat it twice.
Oh, yeah.
See what he says. This game scarred my young mind like I witnessed a murder. First of all, it took me until my adolescence to fucking beat the ship level. It took me until my mid-teens to beat it, only to be told I had to do it again. So it took me until I was 20 to beat this game, and what do I get? Congratulations! Head explodes like the guy from Scanners. But at least you can say you beat it. Not many people have the patience for Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is a great game, but it is ridiculously, punishingly hard.
Yeah.
There you have it. Number 10, Dark Souls. This game is solely made for players like me to fly into a rage and question why I picked up the controller in the first place. That's all I have to say on the subject.
I don't get why people say that game is hard. I mean, yeah, I died a few times playing it, but I was still able to finish it.
It's not that it's exceedingly difficult. It's that it is rather unforgiving. There's not a lot of room for error in Dark Souls because when you get hit by anything, it's going to take off like all your health. So I'll just spec for armor. So you spec for armor, and then you find out you can't dodge shit. So you do have to. I think the trick to playing Dark Souls effectively is you have to treat the game with respect. You have to respect every encounter, like every skeleton you come across. You have to think, okay, how am I, strategically, how am I going to do this? Because the game, these games, I will say that they are unforgiving. I wouldn't say that it's insanely difficult, but you know what it is, Peyton, is that we grew up with games like Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah. You fighting all those, all those games where one hit and you're dead.
Yeah, like Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a perfect example of that type of game where you would jump and you would commit to that. You couldn't control yourself in mid. You had the double jump in that game, but it just like it said, it was just very unforgiving because you take 2 hits and you're dead in that. So number 9 is Tekken 6. I am a huge Tekken fan and have been all my life. I stick with my 4 main characters, King, Law, Paul, and Lee, and have won numerous tournaments over the years. When I bought this game, I had such high hopes, but I got crushed faster than a cake at a Weight Watchers meeting. They changed moves that had been the same since Tekken 2, and my favorite characters became as useless as Hillary Clinton's wedding ring.
Ouch.
Ouch. I don't know much about Tekken, but I find that it's easy to win by wiggling the joystick around and mashing all the buttons at the same time. That strategy has gotten me through every Tekken game that I've ever played. As you can tell, I'm not a fan. Number 8 is Midnight Club 3, also known as Difficulty Curve the Game. This game is such a sharp curve it's broken more necks than Solid Snake having a bad day. Okay. I'm just going to have to take your word for that one, Will.
Yeah, same here.
I have to call bullshit on this next one, and I think you'll agree with me, Peyton, because his next pick is Final Fantasy X.
What? What did he do? Not use the sphere grid?
Well, let's see what he said. Maybe. This is my second favorite game in the series, and it's a fantastic game. but unless you build your character just right, have the abilities you need for every fight, and know how to approach each boss, you, sir, are how we say boned. Not to mention the final boss chooses 2 of your party members randomly, and there's a good chance it will pick the one fucking person you didn't bother... Wait, is he talking about 10 or 8?
I think he's talking about 8.
Because it sounds like he's talking about 8.
Because 10, no, like how the final boss is, okay, technically, and you've had over 10 years to play this game. Technically, Jekt is the final boss. Not that little bug thing that you fight at the end. You, Yevon? No, technically, Jekt is the final boss. If you lose against the bug thing, it was because you committed suicide.
All right, well...
But in 8, yeah, you get randomly chosen in the final battle, and chances are you're probably going to get stuck with somebody you ain't leveled up. Yeah,
it's going to be like Selfie or some bullshit like that.
Hey, Selfie saved my ass in my No Junction play. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, his next pick is X-Men: Children of the Atom, which I was pretty good at this game, but let's see what he says. If you've never played this, it's basically Marvel vs. Capcom. This game is a breeze until you make it to Magneto. His health bar continually recharges, so you have to be coming at him like a spider monkey on meth. He's good with the metaphors. He's super overpowered, as well as his moves for the most part are unavoidable. This game is made to waste quarters, and I'm very sure it succeeded. Well, he's the fucking master of Magnet, right? Welcome to Die.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Oddworld Zabe's Odyssey. Oh, I didn't like this one, but... I actually broke my original copy of this. I got so damn mad at it. You have to be perfect with your button presses, and the early PS1 games had a kind of a delay, so you had to be early. It's like really having to take a shit, but you have to solve a world problem with long division first. Alright, well, the easy solution is don't play that game. Because I didn't think it was very good.
Right.
All right. His number 4 pick is Crash Team Racing, another great game mired by a cheap final boss. He gets a head start and pelts you with whatever fucking weapons he feels like. I remember getting so mad I cried, and this was like a month ago. All right. Obviously he's joking with that one, but... Okay, number 3. I can't sympathize. Doom? Doom? Really?
It's hard the first time you play it, but once you get the hang of it...
But listen to what he says. He says, playing on Hurt Me Plenty is like pissing on an electric fence. You will regret it immediately.
Well, no shit!
Dude, Hurt Me Plenty is the normal difficulty mode. That's not even hard mode. I play on Ultra Violence, and it is way harder, but I don't know, man. Get good.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we already did that once.
No, that was Get Wrecked.
Oh, Get Wrecked, scrub.
Yeah. Number 2, Pokemon Silver. Miltank will wreck your fucking life, man.
I guess that includes Gold as well. And
yeah, Gold. I mean, it's basically the same game. It's just that one particular Miltank is raw. I mean, do you remember Courtney's Miltank?
Yeah, that level 25 bastard that roll out and he's doing it 5 times in a row and knocks out your Pokemon.
Yeah, and then when you get him down, oh, use milk drink, and he gets all his health back.
Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a level 30 Machamp. Have fun, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is kind of the obvious thing, is to just use a fighting move, but anything at level 30, I mean, really, you just want to be over-leveled for that part of the game anyway.
Well, for me, when I got there, I'm like, I got an idea. I plugged in my, I went over to my friend's house who had...
you trade-volved Machoke?
Yeah, I said, hey, can I borrow your Game Boy? And I took my red, because I had a level 30 Machoke on there, transferred him, Machamp, bam, one-hit KO.
Yeah, I mean, because it's normal type, so that's the only really recourse is to use fighting on it. Which I never did. I would just use my starter. So. Quilava for the win. Number 1 is Dead Space. Now you're thinking, what? Yeah, it's challenging, but hardest game he's ever played. But yes, and allow me to explain why. See, There's a mechanic in this game where you press in the left stick and boom, it tells you where to go. I must have missed where they told me about that because I beat the entire game without it, so I got so fucking lost. Okay.
Sounds like the blind kid who beat Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Congrats to that kid if you're watching this or listen to it.
That's been a thing recently. Not just blind gamers, but people doing blindfolded speedruns.
I think it's to display, hey, it can be done. It's like an encouragement. But the problem is, you know, the blind kid that actually beat it, he's never seen the game, period. He's only listened to it.
Exactly. So,
you know, like, I mean, me and my buddy Josh, we would do blind playthroughs of Punch-Out, and I'd always get further than him because I know the game inside and out. He gets stuck on fucking Von Kaiser.
Oh. If you can't see it, I can imagine that being a problem. But at least with Punch-Out, it's pretty simple. It's, you know, you move right, you move left, you punch. It's you know, Zelda Ocarina of Time, man. I mean, he could be like running into a wall for 10 minutes and he wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He would have to tell him. I even imagine that when he's practicing, someone has to be like, okay, now there's a Skulltula to the left. Okay, now you need to jump, and all right, swing the sword. You know. Otherwise, I don't know how the hell he would get through it the first time.
Well, I know he said that if it wasn't for the game's surround sound option, he probably wouldn't have found out. So that means he was using...
if he can't read the text, and you know what I mean, somebody's got to be helping him the first time through, you know? Yeah. I mean, obviously it's going to be memorization to get really good at it, but, like, the first time playing, I mean, like, you know, how does he know who to talk to, or, you know, like, where the chickens are, or whatever? That would be crazy.
Supposedly he's got a stream up of it, so somebody had to have helped him set that up. So
probably, well, yeah, probably. All right, well, out of 15, I gotta say, I mean, once again, another Wilhelmar list that I don't really agree with, but I enjoy his comments a lot, so I'll skew towards a bit of a higher. I'll say 11. What do you say, Peyton?
I'll say 8.
I just love the spider monkey on meth comment. That's. Magneto is a spider, or no, you have to be a spider monkey on meth to defeat Magneto. Why not? Okay. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. I gotta bring up my phone because I had a couple lists on my phone, and I gotta get these tabs closed. So let me see about doing these. Okay. Now, well, that's actually porn, so it's. Okay. All right. Well, we're going back to oola.com, actually, apparently, because I have one of these lists up on my phone. It's workers share the 14 food industry workers share the rudest comment a customer ever uttered to them.
This should be interesting.
People get pretty fucking rude with waitresses and shit because they just think they can. There's a certain breed of people that they're like, oh, they don't have a real job, so I can just say whatever the hell I want, you know, just come in, call them a cum dumpster, whatever, and what does it matter, right? Well, now it's on the internet.
And then they wonder why the hell they get that pubic hair in their food.
Boogers and cum.
Go and get yourself some boogers and cum.
All right, number 1. I guess I was wrong about that. The next... Wait, hold on. What? I guess I... Wait. Did I miss something here? Let me back up. Goddamn mobile browsers. Son of a biscuit eater, now it's trying to open a fucking... You know what, now that I know what the list is called, let me see if I could just bring it up on my computer, because reading off the phone is going to piss me off anyway. Yeah, here it is, okay. Honor.com, okay. When I went to university, I worked at Taco Bell. Usually I worked the drive-thru. One night a car pulled up to receive their order. When the driver stated, I thought I was hungry. Then I got to look at you. I think I lost my appetite. Wow. While handing her the change that was due, I remarked, and I thought I left a town of incompetent hicks bound for a city with more intelligence and culture. I guess I was wrong about that. The next day, the customer showed up to the restaurant and complained to my boss that I was rude to her. I explained the situation. My boss smiled, looked at me, and said, yep, still one of my best employees. I apologized to my boss later for the trouble I may have caused. He told me that my witty comeback was nothing compared to what he may have done. Sounds like my customer was lucky that I'm just ugly. I could have been ugly and mean like my boss.
Ouch.
Oh, damn. Well, as Armageddon time is known to say, hey, I may be ugly, but at least I got no money. Let's see. When I was younger, I worked as a bartender. Usually people were very polite, even if the bar I worked for was not a lovely place. One night, a guy with his girlfriend came in and asked me to prepare some drinks for them. While I was doing my job, the guy was talking with his girlfriend about the bar. He was not very delighted to be there, and I really did not understand why they came in the first place if they did not like it. After a few minutes, the guy said to me, "Hey, Moke, do I have to wait 5 hours to get those drinks?" My ears are quite big. I told him they'll be ready in 2 to 3 minutes. After a few minutes, I gave him the drinks, and he told me, "You have a very big nose, so why don't you use it as a third hand?" What? I answered him, "I have big ears, I have a big nose, and you can easily see it, but I also have something else much bigger, but you must ask your mother about it. She'll tell you." The next thing I remember was a bottle to my head. Well, I mean, yeah, you brought the guy's mother into it, so... yeah. Holy shit. Alright. This next one just starts off at 11, man. This is terrible. Listen to this. You all look like virgins waiting to be raped.
What the fuck?
Mind blown. Now, I'm hoping this is the rest of this is going to explain what led up to that. I was working at one of those corporate events serving champagne on trays and canapes. It was a 0-hour contract work, so I only choose events when I can. Me and 4 other girls were lined up at this entrance of the room with trays full of cocktails or champagne. There an old man in a suit come to us, takes a gin and tonic from the tray, and enunciated loudly, "You all look like virgins waiting to be raped." And off he goes, lost in the 700-plus people, leaving 5 girls worried and shocked, unable to move until one of us has an emptied tray. When this happened, we reported it to the manager, but we have been unable to locate the old man in the crowd. Still quite shaken up by the idea of having this old man there, potentially drunk and dangerous. No more drinks. No more drinks for that man, because clearly he's got something else on his mind.
Well, an old pervert like him, and chances are these are 17 to 24-year-olds mostly.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, that's just sick. Okay, I used to spend my summers waiting tables when I was high in school. When I was high in school, while I was in high school and college. Once a group walked in to be seated. As is customary, I asked how many were in the party. I could easily see that there were 6 of them, but I always asked that total in case more people were on the way. One woman said 4 adults and 2 children. A man, I assume her husband, then sputtered, "That makes 6 total." I didn't really think anything of it until I heard him turn to his wife and say quietly, but not so quietly that I couldn't hear, "You have to make it clear for the waitress. She might not be able to add them." I turned to him and with the sweetest smile said, "Oh, don't worry, I just wait tables over the summer. During the school year, I attended the Oregon Institute of Technology, where I'm double majoring in civil engineering and applied mathematics. I know that 2 and 4 make 6. I kindly showed them to their seats, and they ended up giving a very generous tip. Well, at least there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a waitress, so clearly she's not smart. When I was 15 years old, I got my first job at Burger King. Literally the second day on the job, a woman and her 3 kids pulled up in the drive-thru. Still being naive and thinking everyone was a good person, I happily greeted them. She asked for 3 ice cream cones for her kids, and I made them and handed each one to her. I even did the cool thing and stacked them up. I did not want to be one of those servers who make small cones. She then said, "Now," and all 3 kids threw ice cream at me.
What the fuck?
It was planned? The oldest one was probably 13, and the younger ones looked around 11 and 9. What a shitty person. I started treating customers differently after that. Nice, but cautious. And that cautiousness actually worked out for me because one day a lady tried to throw a soda at me through the window. I was ready and closed it right away. She wanted diet, apparently, and I gave her regular because that is what she initially asked for. I have also had customers try to steal things behind the counter, yell racial slurs, I'm white, so this was weird, and one customer took a piss on the floor. People suck sometimes, but I was actually a good worker, I swear. The lady brought her kids to Burger King and coordinated them to attack with ice cream? That fucked me up, man. It sounded like it fucked you up, too. I mean, holy shit. Okay. There's an old woman who is well known in the grocery store I work at for acting completely insane. She'll frequently tell the associates how appalling it is that the black and Hispanic people are allowed to purchase and eat the same food as white people. She believes anyone who disagrees with her is being controlled by aliens. Just truly wacky stuff. Well, the first week that I worked there, before anyone had warned me about this woman, she came through my line. The following conversation ensued. Hello, how are you today? Holly, oh yes, I've heard about you. What's that? I've heard about you and your prostitution. I'm not a prostitute. Honey, don't you lie to me, I know. Ma'am, if I were a prostitute, I wouldn't be working this job. Prostitution pays much more than cashiering. Who is your manager? I want him to know how disrespectful you're being. She's right over there. She pays and takes her bags and marches over to my manager, who seems to be able to placate her better than I. After she leaves, my manager comes over, shuts my lane light off, and says, "You're getting an extra break today. Take as long as you need."
Okay.
Well, there's a reason we have mental institutions. And that woman is a few of those reasons.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Can you imagine just coming through the line and I just start accusing the woman of being a whore?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, some context. I started waiting tables about 3 months into my stay here in the United States. I had immigrated from Malaysia, where I had previously been a lecturer in college teaching English as a second language. The first time I've experienced someone being rude to me was a few months into my first serving job at Olive Garden. I had a table of 5 Caucasians. From how they interacted, they appeared to be a family of 5. The parents had 3 adult children. They were pretty rude to me as they sat down, demanding for this or that, which in most cases was a pretty normal occurrence. Bossy customers are a norm. I offered them a sample of wine, as is the norm at Olive Garden. One of the ladies kept asking for more samples. Then when she finally ordered her glass of wine, she accused me of giving her less than the stipulated 6 ounces. I explained that we can't give her any less because the appropriate amount is marked on the side of the glass by a little etching of a grape. She threatened to get me in trouble for not giving her the proper amount of wine. The mother accused me of the same thing. When everyone finally settled down after I'd gotten them their beverages, I started to take down their meal orders. The last person I spoke to started speaking in broken English and what I assumed was a fake Chinese accent. I'm ethnically Chinese. Wow. This just keeps getting worse. Toward the end of his order, he said, I want the asparagus instead of the broccoli. You make sure that I get the asparagus. Wow.
What's he doing? Replacing the R's with the L's in every sentence?
Yes, that's what he's doing. This just keeps going. Now, I was stunned by this man's speech. Everyone else at the table were snickering. The man who was doing the fake Chinese accent looked really pleased with himself. Everyone waited to see how I'd react. I mustered every ounce of professionalism I had in me and responded in the most fluent, unaccented, and grammatically correct English. The man who had been rude to me looked taken aback. I smiled at him pleasantly, took all the menus back. All the while my heart was pounding on my ears, and quietly walked away to put in their order. And now that man is president. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. There's more to this. It just keeps going. That was the first time in my life that someone was blatantly racist towards me. My response had been to kill them with kindness. I'd made an offhand remark to my coworker after I put the order in, and she was livid to hear it. Unbeknownst to me, she had gone to the manager and told them what had happened. Moments later, the manager came to me and asked me to recount the incident. After I'd done so, my manager took a plate of raw asparagus, went to the table, and set the plate down rudely, saying, "I hear someone wants asparagus." He then proceeded to have some words with the customers and told them that if they disrespected any of his staff again, that he'd call the police on them. When I returned to the table to check on their meal, the man was exceedingly polite to me, as was the rest of the table.
All right, cool.
Well, good on the manager for sticking up. Because so many of these stories that I hear, the managers, they fold like, a house of cards. So I was working as a barista at a Starbucks kiosk inside a local grocery store. We frequently had customers come in and try to get free coffee from us. Usually this took the form of bringing in an old Starbucks cup, claiming they had been in the store previously that day. We offered a refill price of about 50 cents if you had ordered within the last hour, and asking to get topped off. I've heard customers bring in cups that were so torn up and gross and obviously several days, if not weeks, old. On this particular day, a man came up to the kiosk with the grossest, grungiest, most falling apart cup that was not even a Starbucks cup, and asked us to refill it for him. I rang him up and let him know that it would be $2.25. He immediately grew angry and coldly informed me that refills were free. I explained that they were not, and they were only offered at the discount price if he had purchased a cup at full price within the last hour. I then told him I'd be happy to serve him a coffee, but the price would be $2.25. I asked him if he'd like a cup of coffee, to which he replied the thing I still remember to this day before he stormed off, "Well, not if you're going to rape me for it." Sorry, sir.
Ouch.
Sorry, sir, I doubt rape is anything like not being given a free $2 coffee. Wow. Oh, that is... Alright. This is emotionally draining, but we're continuing. Of course, I encountered many rude customers, but this incident stands out to me as it was resolved with such satisfaction. At the age of 21, I had been working at the bar for 3 years. In Australia, the legal drinking age is 18. By this stage, I had proven myself as an efficient, gregarious, and valuable employee, and had built great rapport with the owner. Therefore, he had named me as a venue manager. Naturally, Friday and Saturday nights were our busiest shifts of the whole week. This particular Saturday night, I had about 3 bar staff call in sick earlier in the day. Being that it was the middle of the Australian summer, and understandably many people go away for the weekend when they can, I was unable to fill their place with some other staff members. I knew the bar was going to be seriously short-staffed, so I decided I would assist them by also bartending the majority of the night. Our bar had a casual and relaxed atmosphere. As the venue manager, I would dress up my outfit up a little, but the female bartenders would usually dress comfortably in shorts and t-shirts during summer. As I was bartending that night, I was dressed in the same casual fashion with dark blue denim shorts. They were definitely shorts, but certainly not inappropriate in any way, but definitely not out of the ordinary for the environment. Early in the evening, before we were too busy, an American bloke came in and into the bar alone. He must have been about 30, quite good-looking. We had quite a few Americans frequent our bar, and my overall impression is that they're extremely friendly and love to chat. I greeted this man with my usual friendly demeanor, and he gave me a somewhat cold response while scanning my body up and down. He then ordered a tap beer, and as soon as I started pouring, says, "I'm not sure if you know this, but your shorts are too short, much too short." How is that a complaint, man?
I don't know, but it
Have
is.
Have you ever in your life told a woman that her shorts were too short?
If anything, I've told them that they're too long.
Exactly that. Hello. Feeling quite humiliated for a second, I put the beer down. Were my shorts hiked up somehow? I looked down, and they were sitting normally. He then scanned the rest of the bar staff quickly and says, "Actually, all these girls' shorts are too short." His condescending tone made my blood boil. "In what world would you think you have the right to come in here and comment on my employees' clothing?" He was shocked. "Excuse me, I'm only making a point. It's sad to see girls dressing slutty just for a tip." By this point, I was completely and utterly enraged. The tipping culture in Australia is entirely voluntary and somewhat uncommon. No one should ever feel obligated to tip, as we have a minimum wage. "We do not work for or expect tips in Australia." He rolls his eyes. "But more importantly, we do not allow people with your disgusting attitude in this venue. You have 20 seconds to get out." His shocked laugh. "Is that a joke? I want to speak to the manager immediately." "You're speaking to her. She just kicked you out." "Out." His face turns bright red out of frustration. He then runs to the closest male he can find, one of our security guards. He smirks at me while this man is rambling on to him about the terrible customer service and whether he could speak to another manager. That did not look like a high school student. As Tony continues to glance over at me, and I give him my usual kick him out signal. "The manager has asked you to leave. It's time for you to go. You are now embarrassing yourself." As the speechless man is now staring at him, wondering who he can complain to next, Tony takes a swift step towards him, purely to intimidate and scare him. The man got into such a fright that he immediately stepped backwards, half tripping on his way. The man looks around the venue, sees the majority of the bar staff watching the scenario are in hysterics, looks back at Tony, and completely humiliated and dumbfounded, quickly dashes out for the door. Did he just come in to complain? I mean, holy shit.
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, me personally, if I walked into a bar and all the employees there were, friendly Australian women in short shorts, I'm going to have a good time. It sounds enjoyable to me.
Same here.
I got no problem with that. Let's see. When I was 16, I had a job at a bakery. It was my first day, and I was serving a man behind the counter, and he requested a specific type of muffin. Because it was my first day, I was still learning the various types, and I couldn't see the signs in the front that described which muffin was what flavor. We were only 2 people in the store. I pointed to the one that I thought was the one he mentioned and asked, "Do you mean this one?" I had picked the correct one, but I wanted to be sure before I put it in the bag to ring him up. His eyes darkened as he told me His eyes darkened as if I had told him I had killed his puppy. He then looked at me with disdain as if I were a mere maggot feeding off a larger maggot. The corners of his mouth turned down. "Yes, that one. Did you graduate high school?" he asked. Wow, I was completely blown away at the nerve of this fully grown man. I ignored him and proceeded to cheerfully ring him up. "I asked you a question," he said in an authoritative tone. He saw me as an inferior human being, and he wanted to make sure I knew it. I looked him in the eye and said, "Sir, I'm only 16 years old and I'm a junior. I'm not old enough to have graduated." Do you plan on graduating high school, he asked. Of course, I said. Good, he said, and then he left the store. I was floored that someone could be so rude, especially since I was just being thorough. I later told my shift manager about the exchange, and she informed me that I never had to take that kind of abuse. Under those circumstances, I was allowed to tell the person to get out of the store and never come back. Fortunately, while I had some rude customers, I never had anything on that level again.
Good for all that.
Yeah, like I said, there seems to be a certain breed of people that they think, oh, they don't have a real job. I can just call them a piece of shit and they have to take it.
If you get paid for it, it's a job.
That's what I'm saying. But
a real, you could say that to somebody say someone who, like a female gamer who will do strippy things if you give her money.
Oh, like one of the booby Twitch streamers, the booby streamers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not only a job, that's the oldest job.
Yeah.
To put it quite bluntly. My rudest experience was not something said to me, but about me. I was working as a hostess at a restaurant when I was in college. One evening I finished sitting a family down and had gone back to the hostess station to seat the next group. Not long after seating the group, my manager asked me to come to the kitchen area. He fidgeted for what seemed like a minute, not really knowing where to begin. Finally he said, I can't have you back on the floor for the rest of the night. I was speechless and had no idea what I'd done wrong. The family you just sat down, well, they complained about your clothing. They said your clothes are too revealing. This again?
Again? Is this the same person?
I was wearing a button-up blouse and black skirt that came more than halfway down my thighs. I also had dark tights underneath, so no actual skin was showing. My manager seemed so uncomfortable, but he continued, Now, I don't agree with them, and your outfit seems perfectly fine, but I can't have you back on the floor the rest of the night. The woman said she would come back later and make sure you didn't work the floor again. What? I asked if he was sure it was me. Yes, she said, the Mexican girl that looks like a hooker. I'm so sorry. I hate to do this to you, but we're a family restaurant, and if a customer complains, we have to act. You see what I mean about the managers that fold like a deck of cards?
Yeah.
I was absolutely horrified, but I donned an ugly kitchen uniform and resigned myself to stay out back for the remainder of my shift. Later that night, my friend who was their waiter said that the wife kept yelling at the husband the whole night in front of their kids. According to her, he came into our restaurant frequently, and she was convinced he was having an affair with an employee there. When I sat them, he must have looked at me somehow, and she became enraged, accusing him of coming to the restaurant only to check me out. The waiter told me she kept calling me a whore and some pretty nasty racist names. I think she was a very twisted, insecure, jealous woman who went off the deep end that night and took it out on me.
I think she went more than off the deep end.
You know, I gotta say, they're talking about, oh, it's a family restaurant, so then why are you allowing people in who come in and, you know, and make racial slurs and comments about, you know, people's, how they dress and just generally make people miserable? That doesn't sound like a friendly family environment to me.
Whatever happened to, we have the right to refuse service?
Yeah, I mean, for family restaurant, that's not the kind of person I would want in there. It's just an unpleasant dickhead, I mean.
Yeah, like have a sign out. We have the right to refuse service to anyone disrupting our patrons.
All right. In December holidays of 2013, I was working at Panarotti's, an Italian pizza and pasta place, when a lady came in, walking in by herself. I greeted her, seated her, and gave her the menu so she could pick her meal. Back to the story. Oh, yeah, then they post a picture of themselves holding a pizza, whatever. Back to the story now. She wanted a Sprite Zero. I got this lady her Sprite Zero can, placed it on a serving tray with 2 glasses, one for her to drink out of and one filled with some ice cubes. I went to her table and did the following. Placed her Sprite Zero down, followed by the glass for her to drink out of, lastly the glass with ice. This did not impress her or even remotely generate any appreciation. Her. What did you do wrong here? Sorry? You placed the can down before the glass. You should have put the glass down first. Were you not taught that? By this time I thought she was joking, so I proceeded to laugh it off and said, No, I was not taught that. Oh boy, she was not joking. I do not think this is funny. If you're going to think of this as a joke, then I will call the owner right now and report you. What? Can you imagine that phone call? He put the glass down first.
Wow.
I apologize for the inconvenience, of which there was none, when I really wanted to set her on fire. I found out a few days after that this woman's son used to be a manager at this restaurant, but was fired for incompetence, laziness, and general sloppy work. I'm not sure what her motive was, and this might sound horrible, but all I know is that I knew exactly why she was sitting all by herself at a table that seats 6.
Ouch.
I have to agree on that, though. You put the glass down there, or whatever it was. All right, I had a customer dump a drink onto the floor specifically to be entertained by me mopping it up. There's more, but you see what I'm talking about? They're like, haha, now peasant clean this slop.
Like, who the fuck does something like that?
This guy, I guess. There was a group of men who frequented the fast food restaurant I worked in college. They were the sorts who were quite annoyed by the fact that they had to speak to a woman in everyday contexts. In the beginning, I was met with disdain. They tried to tell the cooks behind me their order to avoid speaking to me. The policy was that we would only grant student discounts if students showed their IDs, and even if they were repeat customers, we weren't allowed to remind them about the discount. To top it off, our general manager seemed to not have anything better to do than watch and listen to the cameras and recordings all day. So this group comes in every single day and just so happens to forget to show me their ID until I've taken their order, which requires me to void their order, call the manager over, and restart each and every time. The first time one of them realized they could inconvenience me in such a way, I witnessed the most sinister smile I'd ever seen in my life.
Uh-oh.
Then they would leave their garbage all over the table. No reason to pick it up, right? That's obviously my job. But then the day came, the day that would test my patience as a minimum wage worker. We went through the standard, here's my idea after you put in my order deal. Then, full eye contact, one of the guys walked back around the counter, took the top off his soft beverage, and poured it onto the floor with a smile. Then to ID me, Then he told me I needed to clean it up. And as the good employee I was, I grabbed the mop and cleaned it up. Nope, no one said anything, no one stood up. I kept my head down and quit a few months later in favor of a better job.
Can't say I blame her for that.
A few months later? You should quit a few minutes later.
Exactly. Be like, no.
I'm sorry, you should have beat the fuck out of him with the mop. That is fucked up.
Break the handle off and stab it in his brain. That's what I would have probably done. And then end up in jail for the next 10 years at least.
Yeah. I don't know. Would that have been worth it? Maybe. You took out somebody who don't need to exist. Holy shit.
Be a martyr. Go to prison so that way nobody else has to suffer this inhumane asshole.
Yeah. That's the kind of guy who probably tortures kittens in his basement.
Ugh, I don't even want to think that.
Alright, my first job was working at a donut shop. One day it was just me and another girl working. Let's call this girl Jenny for the sake of the story. I had just clocked in and the first customer I helped got a dozen donuts and a few of those were Boston cream donuts. She pays and then leaves. 5 minutes later she calls the store and Jenny answers the phone. The lady was upset and yelling about how the Boston cream donuts she ordered didn't have any cream in them. Jenny said something about how strange that was and if she wanted to come back in we can check and see if there really wasn't any cream in the donuts and if there wasn't then we can switch them out and give her like an extra one for free. That just made the lady even more pissed. Jenny ended up in tears and was trying to play it cool, but the lady hung up the phone. A few minutes later, she walks in the door still pissed. I told Jenny I would talk to this lady. She was yelling about how I was making her waste gas, time, blah, 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 by coming back here. It turns out Jenny had given the lady some Boston creams that we hadn't filled in yet. No big deal. I offered the lady a free dozen donuts for her trouble. She just laughed and then called me an asshole and left. Like, what? How am I the asshole? I just offered to give you an extra dozen donuts for free for something that wasn't even that big of a deal. It's not like the Boston creams were inedible now that they don't have any cream in them. They're basically a chocolate frosted donut at that point. Still good. I don't know what the lady's problem was, but needless to say, I was not the asshole she was. But seriously, who turns down a free dozen donuts?
Shit.
Yeah, that's the part that gets to me because it's like she's bitching about, oh, I had to waste my time, I had to waste gas to come over here. And they're like, all right, we'll make this right. We'll give you free donuts. And then she's like, you're an asshole and leaves? Without even taking the free donuts?
Like, what the fuck?
That person just wants to sow misery. They don't care about donuts. Well, that was the last one out of 14. I gotta say, as emotionally draining, but I gotta give it a 14 because those are all horrible.
Yeah, same here. That sucks.
That's just ridiculous. I'd like to do one more, and I want to do something a little more lighthearted, and I've been saving this one. This is pretty good.
Yes, please. Come on. We can.
Yeah.
List Craig's needs to end on a high note.
Yeah, well, I try to end this on a high note.
Yeah.
This is from Rate My Job. This is a site that we've been using recently and have been enjoying. 13 people share the excuses that they used to get out of a speeding ticket that actually worked.
Ooh.
Okay. So let's see. I was on my way home from a long barbecue-themed road trip that had taken an unplanned southerly road due to a late winter storm that also put me pretty far behind schedule, so I wasn't giving much care for my speed. I was going along at about 80 miles per hour, and I came up to Pecos, Texas, after a long stretch of nothing and nobody else on the road to pick up I-20, when just outside of town I saw a sheriff's car on the side of the road.
Actually, it's Pecos, Texas.
Oh, it's Pecos? My bad.
Sorry.
I'm still thinking like Breath of Fire 3. I knew he had to have seen me coming from a mile off, so I just went ahead and pulled over before he even got his lights on. He didn't have to do more than make a U-turn across the road to pull up behind me. I guess I don't need to tell you that you were speeding. No, sir. Any reason? You look bored. Thought I'd give you something to do today. Well, you know,
work?
like Enrique Iglesias says, Gabriel Iglesias rather, if you can make the cop laugh, you stand a chance.
I was able to sweet talk my way out of a ticket, so yeah.
There you go. I mean, like he had a story where he had come out of a Krispy Kreme and he had a dozen donuts, and he's like, "Oh yes, oh wait till I get you home," you know. And in his thoughts of all the disgusting things he was going to do with these donuts, he made a left turn. He should have made a right turn and got pulled over. And you know, the cop comes to the window and he says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And he holds up the box of donuts and goes, "Because you can smell it." And he didn't get a ticket. So if you can make the cop laugh, you stand a chance. The strangest one was the officer to whom I simply tried to start a conversation. "Hey, weren't you at that event the other day guarding the Dalai Lama?" To which he simply replied, "Oh, you were there too. Well, namaste, sir. Drive safe." I just looked over at my passenger and said, "Did the Dalai Lama seriously just get me out of a traffic ticket? What can't that guy do?"
Make us all millionaires.
Yeah,
That's
right.
That's the only thing I could think of.
All right, here's another one. "I'm sorry, officer, but my wife ran away with a state trooper 3 weeks ago. I thought you were him and trying to bring her back."
Oh, I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's a
But
classic.
seriously, yeah, that's not the actual story. He's just throwing that. But seriously, I did get pulled over once coming back from my girlfriend's sorority ball at the Waynesville County Club. And when we were in college at at Carolina University, I was hammered and she was tipsy. So she drove us home in my 58 Chevy with bench front seats. We were coming down the mountain from the country club and on come the blue light. She pulls over and I said, "Let me do the talking." He comes up to her window and asks, "Have you been drinking?" Before she can say a word, I say, "She hasn't, officer, but I'm shit-faced. This is my car and she's driving me home. She was swerving. It's only because I was sitting a little too close trying to be amorous. If you let us go, I promise to slide over and be a perfect gentleman the whole way home." He looked at us, smiled, and said, "Drive careful, young lady." I remember one time I was driving a drunk girl home, and she thought it was funny to reach over and grab the steering wheel and make me swerve, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Yeah, that's one way how you get pulled over, especially if a cop's right behind you.
Yeah, I mean, not to pulled over is illegal. We were on the interstate. I was worried she was going to make me crash.
Yeah. But I know, like, a cop's going to immediately do that because they're not going to automatically think, okay, this guy's being a dick. They're going to think, okay, this guy's either having a seizure or there's a fight breaking out. I need to stop before it escalates.
Yeah. Well, she was half passed out, you know, and she kept, like, reaching over and yanking the steering wheel. And she thought it was funny. She kept giggling. I'm like, "Don't do that. That's not funny." All right. Obviously, I didn't stick with that girl for too long. That was a long time ago. All right. Don't waste your time in the officers. If you decide you want to fight a ticket because the citation has insurance reporting and or points on your license, the officer is not going to be into giving you any slack when you fight it because you said something smart, funny, smarmy, snarky, cute, etc. That being said, I had a client who was aware of the above because I had represented him several times and said, "Officer, I'd rather not waste your time. If you give me a 3111, a non-points, non-insurance reporting PA violation, I'll just plead guilty and pay it by mail." According to him, the officer wrote him up for the 3111 and sent him on his way. Client literally negotiated his own ticket. There you go. I stopped a woman who was... Oh, this is a cop. I stopped a woman who was going about 50 in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. She explained that she had just picked up her husband from the airport after his army deployment in Iraq. And... Oh, sorry about that. Hold on one second. I just fucked up. There we go. Okay, Oh, fucking hell. I keep clicking the wrong thing.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. She wanted to get home quickly so they could make love. "Welcome home, sir. You'll be safe. Get into the house."
I called it.
Yeah,
Somebody picked up the phone. I called it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an obvious answer. I was northbound on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago in May 2010. I used to work 79th and Cottage Grove and needed to get to Cook County Clerk's office in the Loop. I think the speed limit on Lakeshore Drive was 40 miles per hour. I don't remember how fast I was going, but I know I was in a hurry. I didn't see the cop, and he put his lights on somewhere between 39th and 31st Street. I pulled over as soon as I saw the flashing lights. I can count on one hand the number of interactions I've had with law enforcement. He gets out of his cruiser and walks out to my passenger side, and I roll down my window. He says, "Do you have any idea how fast you were going?" "Sorry, officer, I just got off work and I'm trying to get my marriage license before the clerk's office closes." He looks at me and says, "No one in the world would make that up. Congratulations and drive safely." He didn't even ask to see my ID or check if I had insurance or anything. Some people will slam cops, but I've never had a problem with them. Well, that's because you're white. Let's be real here. All right, let's move on here. Many years ago, I was on a long drive home from a social engagement. I was sober, around 1 or 2 in the morning, and the road was completely empty, so I was going around 85 miles per hour when I was caught by a cop with a radar gun. He and his partner get out of the car, and one was talking to me through the passenger window while the other stood outside the driver window. He asked why I was going so fast, and all I could do was shrug and say, "Because I'm 20. He laughed. His partner asked, "Did he just say he's speeding because he's 20 years old?" And the first officer was laughing too hard to answer me with anything more than a nod. And I got off with a warning. Self-deprecating honesty has gotten me out of way more tickets than I probably deserve. Well, like I said, if you can make them laugh, you stand a chance. Because I'm 20. My dad came over to the UK from Greece in the 70s. He's a typical Greek driver on the road. Even the most mild-mannered people turn into lunatics. It's like the wacky races over there. So one day he's driving his car, impatiently trying to dodge traffic. He gets to the light, and as it turns red, and decides to run the light. Inevitably, he gets pulled over by a traffic police officer. "Are you aware that you've driven through a red light?" In broken English, even though his English is perfect, "Yes, officer." My dad is looking innocent and perplexed, but not as perplexed as the policeman. "Why did you go through the light when you should have stopped? You could cause an accident." "Red means go. Green means stop." More innocent and confused head shaking. "No, you stop at a red light." "Officer, me so sorry. Grease, red means go. Green means stop." The policeman let him go with a warning and a short lecture on the highway rules in England. He must have been feeling very proud of himself that day. After all, he taught that crazy Greek a thing or two till he got back to the station. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall that night. Can you imagine? I wonder if the guy ever lived it down.
Man.
Yeah, that's good. I knew a girl who, she was German, and she would just maniac on the road, and she would get pulled over, and they'd be like, there was a stop sign that you went through, and "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have them in Germany." That kind of thing. I mean, I think they probably have stop signs in Germany.
I'm pretty sure they do too.
She would always get out of the ticket because she was really hot. That was the thing that would work. Let's see, our friends got pulled over for speeding. The wife's mother was in the back seat. When he stopped, the husband got out of the car immediately. This was back in the 80s, so it wasn't that unusual at the time, and it wasn't in the U.S. He handed all his documentation to the cop. As the cop was looking over them, our friend said, "I'm really in trouble now. My wife is worked up over being stopped." In reality, the wife was talking to her mom about something completely different, and they weren't discussing the speeding at all. The cop bent down to look into the car and saw the wife gesturing as she was speaking to her mom. The cop turned to the husband and said, "I think you've had enough to deal with already. Slow down. Next time you won't be getting off." Our friends drove off without the ticket. Oh, there you go. Fooled his ass. All right. It was in morning rush hour traffic. There wasn't even the slightest opportunity to speed. All of a sudden, the cop pulled me over. I had no idea why, and I told him so. He said that I was speeding on another street and that he was trying to catch me for a while, yet it was difficult in the heavy traffic. I asked which street. He told me. I showed him my work badge and asked him to correlate my home address on the driver's license with my work address, and asked why would I be on that alleged street at that time, as it would not lead me to work. Not sure what convinced him, yet he apologized and let me go. He's probably thinking I ain't got time for this shit. Alright.
Probably.
Alright, this is from a cop. I'm a cop. I stopped a lady for doing 45 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. She stoutly denied she had been speeding. I offered to show her the radar gun, but she insisted she'd been looking at the speedometer. I looked at her car and asked, "Is this your car?" "No, it's my son's." "Show me the speedometer." She pointed to the tachometer. She'd been turning a nice, steady 3,000 RPM. So, obviously she didn't know what the hell she was looking at. I like that. No one would disagree that being a lead character in a movie or TV show has its perks. Being a lead in the most popular TV show with uncertainty over your character's fate has even more advantages. Here's Kit Harington's conversation with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show. Do you know who Kit Harington is?
Yeah.
Okay. I was driving home from my parents' house, and I was driving too fast. Actually, I was being a bit naughty. I was going over the speed limit, and I feel sirens going off behind me. And this policeman comes up and pulls me over and says, "Look, There's two ways we can do this. You can either follow me back to the police station now, and I book you in, or you can tell me whether you live in the next series of Game of Thrones. So look at him, and when I'm alive the next season, he goes, "On your way, Lord Commander." Well then.
Gotta love those non-disclosure agreements.
I think it doesn't matter at that point. All right. I successfully extracted myself from a DUI plus felony possession with an argument that included, if I follow you to the station, I will go to jail as a component of my logical argument. In 1994, driving back from New Orleans Bourbon Street after a day-through-night wedding party that started in a small Louisiana town at noon, I was stopped by a cop around 2:30 a.m. driving 85 miles per hour, heading back to rural Louisiana. So I step out of a vehicle covered in Grateful Dead stickers with highly elevated levels of alcohol and amphetamines in my bloodstream. I was wearing sandals, cut-off khaki shorts, and a tie-dyed shirt. So I just want to pause and say, this person's an asshole.
Yeah.
The officer was instantly in my face with a flashlight on my forehead, reciting the standard field sobriety test before I had both feet on the pavement. "Officer, I have bad ankles and I'm wearing sandals. Can I do this in bare feet?" He just stared open-jawed and said, "Sure." Then things got weird. Officer asked again, "How much did you say you've been drinking tonight?" "Well, we started at noon, but I've been pacing myself and cut off a bit before we left Bourbon Street." "So you could pass an exam at the station?" "I've been drinking, but I probably could pass." "No, not even close." "Your reflexes are fine. You actually passed the field test, but there is something wrong with your eyes. I want you to follow me back to the station." At this point, real panic kicked in, and I knew a breathalyzer was a killer and a blood test would be devastating. The funny eyes were linked to the rocket fuel allowing me to maintain my senses, hell, consciousness, despite massive alcohol consumption, so I went for broke. "Officer, you said I passed the field test, right?" "Yes, but something's not right here. Something is going on with your eyes. Get in your vehicle and follow me to the station." "But passing the test implies that I'm fit to drive, and now you're okay with me to drive this car of people, 6 passengers, several miles along a heavily trafficked massive bridge to get to the station, right?" "Yes." "So we are agreeing that you're okay with the risk of me driving a vehicle full of people several miles?" Yeah. Then I could probably make it back safely to the house, right?" "What difference does it make? You said you could pass the breathalyzer, so let's just go to the station and check things out." "Officer, we both know what's going to happen if I go to the station." "But you said you could pass." "Yes, I did, but we both know what the result will actually be." Officer just stares at me for a few seconds, so I continue the momentum. "We established that I passed the field sobriety test, and you're okay with me driving all these people several miles. Why don't I just drive them home?" Officer continues staring for what seemed like an eternity and says something I interpreted as blah blah, "Get in the car and follow me to the station." Accepting defeat, I turned to open the door and then went for a second Hail Mary. "We already established I can drive. How about, boy, get in that vehicle before you talk your way into jail. This must be your lucky day." Then he just stood there shaking his head. I think he was completely overloaded by the inconsistency of the field test versus the pupil test, multiplied by a bold logical argument. When I turned to argue with him that last time, he was actually telling me I could leave, and I almost screwed that up. Ecstatic, I jumped in the vehicle and let everyone that wasn't passed out know I survived a caught red-handed causeway stop. The 2 Louisiana natives in the car were totally dumbfounded and thought I must have knocked or something. My stomach then dropped to my toes when I saw the speedometer was passing 85 again. I was a bit excited. I hit the brakes, set cruise control on 55, and slowly limped away. I later returned to college and finished undergrad and law school with honors. Of course law school after that fucking business. While working full-time through both. They found the fucking hippie lawyer.
Yeah, they did.
All right. Well, that was the last one out of was it 14? Yeah, it's 13. I'm gonna say 12. What do you say?
I'll say 13. They were all good.
All right. Well, that'll be the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Send me some lists. Blah blah blah. I gotta get some rest, man. My fucking throat is hurting from all this talking.
Yeah, it's 11:40 in the morning. Do you still not know where your kids are? They should be. I don't know where the hell they're at. You're watching List Critics, or you're listening to it, or something. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not posting this for a few days, so who knows what time it is when they're listening to it.
Okay, at the time of this recording, it is 11:41 in the morning.
At the sound of the tone, the show will end.
So frig off and see you next time.
Beep.